Hello and welcome back to Film Shilm, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
You just watched Man on Fire. We apologize for our situation in that one. We're back inside my living room again.
Yes,
thankfully.
with new mics.
With new microphones.
mics.
You
So
saw
we're
me
not
holding this
that
one.
broke.
I mean,
subscribe.
You don't know how we got these mics.
Well, to
They
be
don't
fair,
know how
these
we got
microphones
these mics.
were with us for Man on Fire. Too bad Man on Fire didn't deserve them.
It's ironic that today the film that we're looking at is Tick Tick Boom. I think that's the most fitting to deserve these microphones.
Yeah, there's some good audio for a change, you know.
Yeah. Sorry for the hiatus. I'm pretty sure you guys noticed we did not post for a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, Man on Fire came out pretty late as well. As you know, in the middle we had the world had some issues, so we just could not film during those times. But we're back to it now.
The Hormuz is still closed, but we'll keep
well,
on
But
going.
we are still open, baby.
Yeah, we're still open for business.
Let's go.
Yes.
Tick Boom. A musical.
Our first musical.
Our first musical.
Is it?
Our first Andrew Garfield movie. Our first musical.
Mm-hmm. Where, knowing film history, this is not the first musical I would have picked. However, it is pretty fitting. It's more modern.
Yeah.
It's Lin-Manuel Miranda is like one of a more modern director.
And his
Uh,
apparently
house
his
director.
directorial debut.
This is directorial debut. Prolific director in the theater space.
Yeah.
Hamilton being one of the biggest Broadway shows for a long time now, and it's a great starting point for all of us,
Yeah.
especially for me who doesn't like musicals. You two still are
At this
inclined
point, I'm
towards
pretty
it.
sure the audience is asking, what does Ali like?
That's true.
No, but like I'm
Ali's
I'm
a
personally not.
letterbox.
No, to be fair, everyone on Letterboxd loves this movie too. I'm just on the personal fence. I prefer not watching musicals. I don't find entertainment in it as much.
The thing is, to be fair, I was not a big fan of musicals. I only watched this film because we had to watch it for the podcast. But I'm so happy I did. But otherwise, I'm not a fan of musicals.
This was both of yours first time watching it.
Yeah,
Yes.
my first.
All right.
watching it.
So this is my second time watching it. I watched it when it came out. I fell in love with it at the time.
2021?
Yeah,
Oh,
back when it came
COVID.
out. Yeah. And during COVID.
Damn.
It was... Now, I'm going to get into my overview. Going into the film the first time, I had no idea who Jonathan Larson is.
right.
I did not know who he was. I did not know what Tick Tick Boom was. I didn't know what Rent was. I enjoy musicals, but I'm not a musical theater fan.
Right.
Especially American musical theaters. I'm not familiar with them enough.
Right,
You know?
right.
I didn't know Cats was a thing until Cats the movie came out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Apparently
Flip.
that's a thing.
I completely forgot that Cats is also a musical. Not that I watched that one.
Neither have I.
So,
don't think I plan to.
I went into this blind. Sorry, I went into this completely blind, not knowing who this person is, what the story is, how the story is even structured, what parts the play, what parts. Watching it a second time, I appreciate it more now. First time
Right.
I was completely blown away by it, especially after learning about it more. After watching it, I researched a little on it, and I don't know. I'd love to hear what you think about it going into this.
I love stage plays. Stage plays, I find like it's an incredible art form.
Yeah.
Especially like on such a small area, you can do like
Yeah.
films have a 3-act structures. These bros are going up to 7 acts at a time,
Yeah.
dude. That's insane.
And they're performing the same thing multiple days,
Yeah.
multiple weeks, back to
And
back.
it's like actual people. Like a film is like, okay, you made it, and you can transcend. You can watch it like
Yeah,
40
then
years
you're
after
done.
fun.
You just have to keep screening it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. But this is like a continuous effort to
Yeah.
give you
Yeah.
something incredible each night, back to back.
Yeah.
With
to back.
film, you wrap up, your crew goes home, everyone goes home.
Everyone
Here, the
gets
crew
paid,
is doing
yeah.
it every day.
Yeah, and it's like 2.5 hours. How? Superbia was meant to be 2 hours long.
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, and that's like an incredible commitment.
Yeah.
To like every night you're coming in.
Yeah.
Or doing multiple shows a day.
Yeah. I think essentially what we're going in, if we say anything negative, we're not crapping on theater or
Absolutely
theater
not.
plays or
Absolutely
Broadway
not.
plays.
No, never.
Ali will just probably be crapping on this film as a movie.
On how
Basically,
you get to
musical theater, not even musical theater, just theater,
Theater in
and film
general.
are such. You might think they're the same medium or they're similar, but they're so wildly different. I'm pretty sure some people might have seen, especially if you're a film enthusiast, you'll see reels on TikTok or Instagram where somebody acts the way they would on film, somebody acts the way they would on
it's a
theater,
juxtaposition
and you
of both
see
of them.
that difference in acting.
There's a reason why so many theater actors hit it big on the big screen, is because those skills are A, very easily transferable, and B,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
it transcends, and automatically you can tell there is a different caliber of actor when they set foot behind a camera.
I mean,
sit
obviously,
in
at
front
the
of
end
a
of the
camera.
day, it's acting.
It's acting,
And the
acting,
rules
right?
of basic acting, it's
Yeah.
the same way as saying 2D animation is different from 3D animation. At the end of
Yeah.
the day, they're animation.
Yeah.
Sorry, the animator in me just woke up.
Yeah.
Stop motion is a different medium.
Yeah.
It requires different tiny
There's
nuances that set it
philosophies that are
apart.
different, right?
At the end of the
I get
day,
that.
the basic structural rules of all sorts of animation, whether it's motion graphics or
Yeah.
typography or 2D, 3D, stop motion, whatever,
Yeah,
The basis
the
of the
the
same.
basic rules are all the same.
I get that.
How you apply them in different scenarios is what sets them apart.
Okay.
None of them are less or great.
Okay, I get that. All right, guys. So welcome back to our feature fan,
Feature fan. Yep, yep.
part of the podcast. Some of our viewers may recognize this fan from previous feature fan, which is because this fan has been kind enough and humble enough to come in a moment's notice, because our original feature fan, the one who
Yeah.
won it, she
Was
had some
unable to
technical.
make
She
it,
was
yeah.
unable. She had some technical issues, and a backup fan also had some technical issues. So, at a moment's notice, our savior
Aisha.
for feature fan Aisha is back.
Hi, Aisha.
Hello, Aisha.
Hello.
Hello.
And I hear you are a huge fan of this film. I have been told you absolutely love this
am.
film.
Who told you this?
The feature fan?
This was
herself.
my recommendation. I love, like, it's just so emotional, but none of it feels overdone. Like, I think, like, all, like, even the arguments, even the little interactions, everything is so, like, I don't know, it's just, it's so real. It's so
Listen,
nice.
Me
You know?
and Mahir agree with you. You can't see Ali's face, but Ali's face just said the words, I disagree with everything you've just said.
I really like this movie. I really like musicals. I thought the musical numbers in this were crazy. I love all the music on this. It's on my normal Spotify playlist. I listen to this.
Yeah,
I
Lin-Manuel
go- like,
Miranda is
I-
like accomplished.
By the
Like
way,
Hamilton.
By the way,
he's really great.
Lin-Manuel
He's in the movie.
Yeah,
Lin-Manuel
Lin-Manuel.
Miranda.
Yeah, he is.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. This
He's
was
a
his
chef.
directorial debut, by the way. This film.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
really?
Yes. This
No
was his
way.
Yes.
Yeah, because the Hamilton film's only just gonna come out soon.
This
Oh,
was
I didn't
his
know
first
that.
movie he directed. So,
I didn't know that. I think it's
uh,
pretty
But he's
good
done plays
for
for
his
so
first time
long. So
directing.
like directors with like theatrical experience, like
Yeah.
theater experience is really important,
It is,
especially with
it is,
directing.
It is.
And it shows because Aisha's right. It's on the acting side. It's really good.
Yeah.
Like his
Phenomenal. Okay, well, speaking of actors, let's say I do know from one of our previous conversations there is a certain actor in this movie that you hold in very high regard. Mm-hmm. Do you mind?
I
telling
love
us
Andrew
who that-
Garfield.
yep.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
I
That's
love
my
him.
Spider-Man
And
right
he
there.
is-
Hell yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
I swear to God. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so Aisha, considering that you are more you like theater, you like plays more, and you don't watch as much films, Andrew Garfield being the lead in this, what do you think? Could there have been a better casting than him, like
It's a good
someone else with
question.
more theater experience?
I really love Andrew Garfield, and I feel like he did such a good job on the role. Like, I even in the end of the film, when they show us, like, the real clips of Jonathan Larson
Yeah.
in Tick Tick Boom, he does such a good job of really, like, embodying that.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
true.
And
That's
Andrew
true.
Garfield himself is a theater kid. So, like, even in Spider-Man, the reason why he's my favorite Spider-Man is because under the mask, he embodies, like, he conveys
point.
so much emotion just because he knows how to move, because he's a theater kid.
Like he's very good at emoting with his body and
Yep.
movement
Yep.
when he
Yeah.
knows he can't use his face.
100%.
That's the point you're making. That's a great
Actually,
point.
that is a
Great
very
point.
I'd never
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
of it that way.
100%.
It's usually theater people are very overly exaggerated in their movements. You won't see that in film.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because
yeah.
you have to be, because when you're on a theater, like, you're not looking at the face, you're looking at the whole body, and you have to be
Yeah.
able to convey all that on a
Absolutely.
stage.
Yeah.
I think people don't like musicals because they're always like, oh, how absurd is it that people would just burst into song? But, like, you have to understand, I like to sing, my mom likes to sing, this just happens sometimes. You know,
So it's
it's
real.
not that
So it
absurd
happens.
to
He
know that
likes a
someone would
musical,
just
is what
burst
you're
into a
saying.
song like
Essentially,
that.
her life is just, you know,
Yeah.
her life is Tick Tick Boom.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
Okay,
oh, girl,
so
I hope not.
Please don't. Please no. That's such a sad story.
absolutely hope not.
Man.
I think the very end of Tick Tick Boom, where we find out that about Jonathan Larson, was the most depressing part, Like, it was insane to
Spoiler
watch. Like, it was such a tragedy to watch.
I mean,
That
Spoiler
this man,
alert!
I don't know.
What?
I'm sorry.
We're talking about the movie.
No, not that.
Prerequisite would have been that you watched the movie.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. That's not why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I think Ali was the one back when me and Ali were in O levels. Ali spoiled Narcos the show for me because Ali told me.
I actually don't want to tell him that John Larson dies at the
He
end.
told me the historical fact that the real man that you're watching the show
Has
about is
perished.
dead. And the show was set in the 90s. And I was like, no, you spoiled it for me. And I proceeded to have like a little crash out. So just the fact that John Larson, a very real person who died in the 90s.
In my defense,
I actually wanted to tell him so badly that John Larson dies at the end
in
of
my
this.
defense,
Like, that's best not
I'll
tell
get
him.
into this in my overview later. But yeah, carry on. Any closing remarks, Aisha?
I think just that. I mean, it was such a tragedy at the end of it, because over those 2 hours, you see how hard he worked and how much he had to give up and how
Right.
difficult it was for him, to finish that play, to get the last song, and then to have it turn into absolutely nothing. And then have to go through the grief of oh shit, I have to bury this and start something new. See him do that. See him do it again when Rent eventually made it, and how incredibly depressing that he died the night
From
before the
aneurysm.
very first the debut. That's fucking insane. Like, that was such a tragedy, and I mean it's a very sad point to end the movie on, but for some reason it didn't feel sad, if that makes sense. Like, it was a really depressing point to end the movie on, but at the same time you see this man and all of the life that was in him, and you don't really feel too sad, because you're like, I don't know, I feel like it's that idea of celebrating the life instead of mourning the death kind of vibes.
I mean,
It was more about his legacy than anything
Yeah.
else, what he
Yeah.
leaves behind
Yeah.
afterwards.
100%.
Thank you so much for being
Filling
our
in
feature fan
And coming in.
at such short
Happy
short
to.
notice. Sorry.
Happy to.
Okay, I thought you said something else. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, and it was lovely having you. And
Bye bye.
bye.
Because
Yeah.
he has no idea how to end a call. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Andrew Garfield actually learned how to sing for this film. Everyone in this film who's singing is actually them singing.
That's great. That's such a good.
From Vanessa Hudgens
Mm.
to Andrew Garfield to the actor, what's his name? Robin De Jesus, the guy who plays Michael. All of them, that's their voices. They
That's
took sing.
awesome, dude.
And Robin De Jesus is a Broadway actor, is a theater kid, is a theater guy. Do you know what his breakout role was? Rent. He starred in one of the Rent.
whoa.
The guy who plays Michael, he's a Broadway actor.
That's actually incredible.
And his
Wow,
breakout
wow,
role,
wow.
like one of his what he got his big break on was Rent.
That's actually
An
insane.
adaptation of Rent.
That's actually
Pretty
insane.
cool.
That's really cool.
Speaking of Andrew Garfield's skills, so you know the scenes where he's swimming, because Jonathan
Yes.
Larson also was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
proficient swimmer. They wanted a stunt double to be a good swimmer, and Andrew Garfield was like, "I know how to swim." They're like, "Sure, you know how to swim, but let's get a
Do
professional
you know
swimmer."
how to actually swim?
He's like, "Let's get a professional swimmer," and he outswam the professional swimmer.
Yo,
So
what a
then
legend!
Lanky
they
lad.
kept Andrew Garfield. Like, they're like, "Okay, just forget the stunt double. He will do all the swimming."
No, which is
parts."
great.
Yeah.
Logistically, I mean, if I'm thinking about it on a
Yeah,
timeline
yeah.
space and a film production space, all the film, like all the pool stuff they did in the one day in one go.
Yeah.
Because you can see, especially when he's diving in,
Yeah.
that it was one side from his side
It's-
profile and one
It's
side from
just
the
him,
front.
basically.
And it's the same,
yeah.
even though we see it at different
Also,
points.
this is one shot that I really love that you definitely would not have gotten if Andrew was not swimming. Was
It's
when
from the front and it goes
he's
underneath.
underwater, the camera is, and he's looking down
Yes.
while swimming, and he's lip syncing the
Yes.
song.
Exactly,
I
which is
love
great.
that. That's
Yes.
so difficult to do, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's effectively swimming, which is insanely tiring. First
So
off,
basically, Andrew
And then he's
Garfield is just a
acting-
great swimmer. That's something.
He is.
I love the underwater stuff when it finally clicked for Elizabeth.
I don't know, do you guys
I
swim?
genuinely-
I can.
I
Survive.
drowned in knee deep water.
The man, the water's ankle high, and he's like, "Oh."
I'm not joking.
I love swimming.
I actually have drowned in knee deep
I mean,
water.
I've drowned
It's
as
not
well.
a joke.
I don't know if you've ever done this underwater. But moving underwater is much difficult and slower. Imagine moving your facial
To
muscles
sync with sound.
to sync with sound. How hard that must be. And it was a
shit.
fast lyric as well.
Yeah.
Dang, I
That
didn't
is
even think about
very
it.
difficult, especially when you're swimming and the current is rushing by you. Insanely difficult.
Damn.
So,
No,
like,
you're
credit
right.
for that shot alone.
Wow.
I was like, wow, that's
Incredible. Yeah,
amazing.
That is great.
Like, doing lens is tiring on its own. You have to do that as well. Amazing.
Fun fact, number something else. Every scene that was depicting and like Jonathan Larson's Tick Tick Boom, the stage play, was actually filmed at the New York Theater Workshop,
Wow, that's awesome.
which would later on, which is where his 1996 Rent would officially premiere for the first time.
Oh, wow.
love
That's-
So they filmed it at the
Actually,
exact
insane.
same place where what set up
Started
Jonathan
it all.
Larson to be. Yeah, it's
And
basically
Lin-Manuel
that.
Miranda would have had connections to get it
course.
there anyway. Of
Yeah,
course.
everyone in the Sunday diner scene
Hmm.
who was left behind when he went into
The song.
Yeah.
were legends in Broadway theater.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Every single one of them. So
Oh, I love that.
That's
people such
awesome,
as Joel
actually.
Gray, Cheetah Rivera. I'm going to
This,
be butchering
to be
some
fair,
names.
this actually
Andrea
just want to make me
DeShields.
get into watching more theater plays.
Yeah.
Even
You
if I'm
should.
not into musicals, I genuinely want to watch more theater plays.
You should
And,
definitely check out Red, the Alfred Molina one.
We also had some Hamilton original Broadway cast
Yep.
members. Renee
Lin-Manuel
Elsie.
Miranda's in it himself
that's
As the
right.
chef.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So everyone in that is either a legend in Broadway or someone who got their start in Broadway.
So they can all like somehow
Everyone
It
who
was,
connected
it was
to
that. It was, that
Jonathan
was
Larson.
that was his.
That's how impactful his story was, is what my point
yeah,
was.
Yeah. The famous speak on Jonathan Larson's answering machine can also be heard in the movie adaptation of Rent. Rent's
that's
movie
nice.
movie
Well, that's
adaptation.
awesome.
It's
Wow,
from
wow,
that.
wow.
So
A homage.
a lot of this film is just nods to Rent. I love that scene where one of his singers brings a friend.
That shit
And
was
the
funny.
friend was that typical straight
Oh
male.
yeah,
Yeah,
the cringe
yeah,
asshole.
yeah.
He was the-
finance bro.
He Finance bro, he was a finance
straight
bro.
male finance bro. Oh, I only sang for the pussy. Like, he had that typical thing about him.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I made everyone uncomfortable. That's like the
Even
one
the
he
guy
said-
who brought him music and he just showed up.
Yeah, I like how this film was really centered around trying to bring awareness about the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah,
like
there's
it was
that,
it was
there's
a
that.
really
I think it was more of a
depressing-
backdrop rather than
It was a
centered
back
around.
No, but it was a big part of it.
It was a huge part of
And-
it because of how it intertwined
Affects the life.
How-
people are.
The queer community is so active in
Theater.
spaces
Yeah.
and how it's just a part, like how they said that most of your friends, meaning because they
Yeah.
all have a
Most of your friends
set-
and mine.
and my friends, are probably, and that's the whole thing where another big thing, it was a huge misconception that only gay people got AIDS. Everyone got AIDS.
Everyone
it was
had
just
AIDS,
an
man.
epidemic that was going around back then that sure was more prevalent in homosexuals, but it wasn't limited to homosexuals. It's also terrifying because what hit me was I was like, imagine getting diagnosed with something or getting told you will die and there's no cure for it and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Because there was no cure for HIV/AIDS back in the 90s. There is now. There wasn't back then. It's a
Yeah.
death sentence.
I didn't see much of the reviews, but I saw the rating. It was like a 7.6 on IMDb, and I would agree on that because there were certain moments in the film where I don't have any clips, but I'll mention them later, where I feel like I wanted to give it some understanding. Okay, it was more like how I try to link things to motifs, right? If this is a continuous motif, it feels more intentional. Because, like, especially when Michael, after Michael is told that he has HIV, right?
Yeah.
And then you see him running away.
Yeah.
We see that musical number that he does.
Yeah.
But after that, it's a lot more film-like.
Yes.
Okay.
Because
okay,
it stops
I get it.
being,
I get it.
stops
I
seeing
get
the
it.
tick
I
and
get
boom
it.
stuff
Right.
I get
that
it.
he's actively
Okay.
performing.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And those are the emotional parts for me that hit the most.
I see.
Because for me, that's when we're in the film. And that's why I cared so much more about Michael's story and every queer person that was dealing with AIDS at the time. Because
Not even just queer people. AIDS was an epidemic for everyone.
But for the way that Michael was speaking about
But
it,
I
right?
get
that
that,
I
I
cared
get that,
so much
yeah,
more
yeah.
about that plot than I could, and then I did as much as I should have for John Larson, simply because those portions felt more movie-like, and I was more attuned to that.
Right.
Okay.
So it was more of a
get your
personal
point. I get your point.
understanding
Yeah,
for me.
Okay, with me is different because with me, I sort of went into this knowing it's gonna be different, so I have to like brace for the fact it's not going to be like a typical film that I watch.
Right.
And the thing is, why I love this film is from the get-go. I mean, again, if you go in this with the sort of stuck-up mentality, no, this is not the way it's supposed to be,
Right.
you're never going to enjoy the film. And you sort of just let go and you just let the movie... Because I think inherently watching a good movie is you're along for the ride.
Okay.
I think you said something about that.
Yeah.
You don't have to think. It just takes you along for the ride.
Mm.
And if you let that happen, I think it was a lovely viewing experience. I didn't have a problem because I knew that, okay, yes, this is us being told his life story in how he wrote it for his musical.
Exactly.
And then I know how the end of it was what you're saying is like, it's the film, it's the movie, it's not in the musical anymore. We're just actually, that's, stuff happening. I think that's what you're trying to say,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Forget this movie existed. You go to watch Tick Tick Boom, the stage monologue.
Yeah.
You don't see Susan. You don't see Michael.
Yeah.
You don't see Stephen Sondheim.
You didn't
You
Freddie.
don't see Ira. You don't see any of these people. You just see Jonathan Larson,
Yeah.
the singers. That's all you see. And you are told the story of Jonathan Larson by Jonathan Larson actually either singing or
And then you have
performing.
Susan's point in the beginning of the movie where like these are all the things he
Everything
wrote.
is true except the parts
he
that he
made up.
made up.
Exactly. Right? So
That's
it's so
exactly
good.
my point. It
Yeah.
sets it up. Like everything you're going to watch is not part of the play.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is the film. So where you say, oh, the film is only there at the end, I kind of disagree with that.
I don't
The film
mean it
is
like
there
that.
throughout.
The film is there throughout, but like majority of it, like it's
Like if you're thinking
without
this
cutting
is a
it back.
strict adaptation of Tick Tick Boom and
Yeah.
all of it is like a Broadway where they have the sets of the bedroom and the sets of the diner. No, even the Sunday song where you have the diner.
Yeah, and
Right?
that even breaks apart.
That's just Jonathan on stage singing it.
Yep.
There's no diner.
No, but like what I mean by it is like there's obviously the film is throughout the whole film. It's not constantly just his monologue on screen.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like the monologue ends, and then you have this entire section of his. There's no monologue there.
It's just the film.
It's just the film.
But no, the last song, the one that ends with Happy Birthday.
Yeah, and no, that's
That's the last song
that's
of-
the last thing
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
But before that, there's a huge 20-minute chunk that there's no monologue,
Yes.
and it's just that the silence that the
Yes,
film
yes,
silence
yes,
that
yes,
takes
yes.
place. That's
Yeah,
and then
I get it.
you mentioned just now it
Yeah.
was about the therapy, right? That the
song,
song that
yeah.
plays, and it constantly flipped back between monologue.
There's
and the
parallel
other one.
cutting, yeah.
Exactly. I personally, when I was going in, because I was just getting emotionally invested in the film side, and then it cut to the
song.
and I'm like, "Yo, put me back in, Chief!
No, come on, man.
Please!"
I thought it was a wonderful way to
that's-
see how Jonathan sees this.
Exactly, and then that was what I was
Because
trying
there's
to
an
make.
aspect of the unreliable narrator here.
Because I was trying to make something out of it. I was trying. What am I not understanding?
Mm.
And it became an idea about presence,
Mm.
right? Him being present inside the conversation or not. Because like even in that
He was not present.
He wasn't present because he was still making a musical out of the thing. He's like even the Sunday thing. He was making a song out of the Sunday dinner. He was constantly making music, and then it stops happening as much the second Superbia is over.
Because it's after that point he realizes, you see?
Exactly. So that's like I was trying to make sense of that. I was trying to see like, okay, this is it was about presence of him being present in the moment.
Yeah.
But then it still happens. And then like, okay, this is a musical and stuff. And it stopped being that film reason and it started being
Right.
like, dumbass, you're watching a musical.
Yeah.
Please just watch the musical.
Yeah.
So these are all faults on my end.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to
You're not crapping
Rationalize
on the film,
it.
you're crapping on yourself.
exactly because I'm trying to rationalize something
Okay.
that's not meant to be rationalized.
No, it's just that like you have to come into this. There's certain viewing experiences you have to go into, knowing that it's not going to be a generic, normal viewing. It's going to be different.
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great,
You
and
just have to roll with it.
but I still am on the side where I feel like if you're not thinking critically about what you're watching,
I'm not saying don't think critically.
That's not the same thing as
I'm
he's saying.
saying
you said about
accept-
letting go.
I'm saying accept what's happening, be critical of it. Obviously,
But not strictly in the form
But
of
do not-
this is
yeah,
not the way film
yeah,
is
do
supposed
not
to
Right,
be
okay,
such
okay, I get it, I
a,
get
you know,
it.
yeah, exactly. It's like, so for example, it's like
the
if
purity
someone,
is idiotic at that point. There's no
if someone believes that the only proper way to go to office is wearing a suit and tie, that's also wrong. But it's like, sure, there's other ways to be formal. I'm not saying that if you wear shorts and flip-flops, that's nowhere in the realm of formal. But
Yeah.
formal can mean a million different things.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is someone who just thinks that only a suit and tie is formal, you're then so fixated to just one type of thing.
Yeah.
You are not open to a new experience. You're not open to, instead of a tie, wearing an ascot, or like not going in a three-piece, but
Exactly.
maybe wearing
Mm,
like
yeah.
a little
Okay, I
like
get what you mean.
blazer or something. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
But like it comes down to the bare bones of it, which is you're watching a
Why
film,
did
you're
I
watching a
say-
musical theater,
Right.
you're watching anything, you're watching a TV show.
Yeah.
At the end of it, what do they all have in common? They're all storytelling mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Go into it knowing that you're watching a story
Right.
You're
okay.
being told
Okay.
a story.
and judge that story.
So like when I actually mentioned like people randomly bursting into song, it doesn't happen as much here because everything is prompted. If that makes sense.
What do you mean in the film?
In this film, it doesn't feel like people just randomly burst into song.
At one point, it did.
Boho, the Boho song.
Yeah, Bohemia, that one.
Bohemia,
That
that
felt really
The one
out
at
of nowhere.
At the beginning,
At
when they're
the-
having
at
the
the birthday
party,
party.
and they start singing
Yes,
the
yes,
song.
yes, yes.
I feel like even that is so in character for because
Yes.
it's so in character for
theater
John
kids.
to be doing that.
It's in character for
So it
theater
doesn't
kids.
feel like people are randomly bursting into song.
He initiates it.
He initiates
Again,
it.
to
and
be
this is
fair, we
great.
just had a feature fan who said, I often burst into song.
No, but like that's
I mean, in
but
my
like-
defense, I sometimes burst into song in my house.
But
And
that's not the reason
my
why I
family starts
hate-
singing with me. It happens sometimes.
But it's not. That's not the reason why I don't like musicals. It's like I feel like I'm getting a random break in the storytelling,
Okay. I get
and to give me a musical number.
Right.
So I just wanted to end off my rant, I guess, is that there are certain sections of this movie where it feels like it's doing a lot of like I'm seeing it and you're also telling me what I'm seeing.
I see your point.
Because honestly, in theater, you're
not
especially the
seeing
mono-
it.
You're not seeing it, so you have to be told what they're feeling at the moment. But like especially after Susan and John break up, right? He's being told he's telling the audience what his feelings were at the time.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have seen him his turmoil instead of having to be told that what he's going through right now. Same thing after when Michael was diagnosed. He was also like, oh, I was doing this, I was doing that. Like, I can see you running. I can see that this is deeply affecting you. And I wish I wasn't told what you were feeling. And I wish I wasn't told.
Basically,
that you
you
were
just
going through.
didn't like the fact that it was music. You didn't.
No, I don't like
no,
the fact that there was
I
like...
understand his point.
I get it.
I'm more. We've been shitting on films for so long. In the last 10 episodes, we've constantly telling people, "Yo, show it to us and don't spoon feed us like idiots."
But think with this, I'll tell you why I think this one's a bit different. And maybe this is a personal thing, but for me, it built up the intensity. I don't know how to explain it, but especially you mentioned that scene where Michael reveals his condition and
Right.
Jonathan's running away.
Yeah.
And we hear a bit of the Tick Tick Boom's narration happening as well. Oh, I turned from this corner or from where we used to go. And we don't know the emotional beats of the area where he's running from. They add context to where he's going and what he's exactly feeling in that moment. I understand your point of showing and not telling, but the entire film is structured around this man is a genius and we cannot understand how his mind works.
Right.
So we need to know how his mind works. Do you know, there's another example of that is when Freddy is hospitalized.
Right.
And he turns around and now let's get rid of the audio and the monologue in that scene. You see, all you see is Andrew Garfield. If you can clip this to Sat Laga Lena. You see Andrew Garfield turn around. He reassures his co-worker. I forget her name. He reassures his co-worker and says, he'll be fine. And then he turns around. He just stands there. And he stands there.
For
and
a
he's
second.
looking around. And you can tell, without the monologue, you can tell. He has reassured his friend, but he has not reassured himself. He's quite worried. He's thinking about his friend.
Exactly.
But in the monologue, he's thinking about Susan. He's thinking
What,
about
all these
writing a
different
song,
things.
and he's chastising himself about thinking about a song while his friend's in the hospital. We would not know that if the monologue was not there.
But there are different ways to show that on screen without having to do a
But there's
monologue.
no
But then
way to
you're-
show it on theater. There's
On
no
theater,
way to
but
show
then
Exactly,
it.
but that's
then
what
you
I'm
have
saying.
to take-
We're still here to watch a movie.
Then the thing is you're asking for a film adaptation of Tick Tick Boom, and I don't think that works.
Yeah.
What you're asking for is a
Are
direct
we not
film.
watching a film adaptation of?
I would
Tick Tick
say
Not
something.
exactly.
We
Not
are
exactly.
watching. No, that's
Yes
the
and
whole
no.
point.
Yes.
Then
and
what's
no.
the why? Then why not? Why should I not just sit down and watch the taping of Tick Tick Boom? Then
You can.
what? How does it differentiate? Why am I watching this then? Do I'm watching it because I can see Andrew Garfield be John Larson?
I think there's a thing here where it's like sometimes art doesn't need a reason to exist. It just exists.
It just does. And
It just exists for the purpose
Tick,
of.
tick,
No,
boom.
but you
Look,
still
it's
have
not,
to have
look,
purpose.
It's also about
But it-
about getting a story to a bigger audience.
That is
You
also
wouldn't
true.
have- I did not know who-
same.
you know?
I did not know that this man existed, that these things existed until
And
I
yet
watched
his
this
story
film.
has touched me so.
That's
You
not to
don't know.
de-alienate that. What I'm trying to say is that
I-
like that moment
I get-
where you talked about but he's not. He's talking about Susan the same way we saw in his fight with Susan, where he was playing the piano on her shoulder. Well, could that not be another way to have shown that at that moment too? That even though he just reassured this,
I
you
see
could
your
have seen the
point.
directorial
I
point
get
of
it.
Rick and Force
I
like
get
that.
it, but I don't know. Maybe this movie has biased me in its favor a little too
Maybe
hard.
it was just
That's
to-
fine. That's perfectly fine. But that's
Because-
just my gripes with it.
Maybe it's just God knows what Lin-Manuel Miranda was thinking. Probably
Mhm.
maybe it was to actually honor the Jonathan Larson's actual written monologue. You know,
Hmm.
you want to bring that back in as
Yeah.
well. You can't just keep saying, "Okay, I'm gonna do."
Actually-
'Cause what if sometimes? Because sometimes you again. How
I'll
do
give you.
adapt a
Sorry, I'll
monologue?
give you a really
Yeah.
fun fact. The legal heirs for Jonathan Larson, so his family,
Yeah.
were initially very not on board with this idea until they heard how Lin-Manuel Miranda, right, was going to sort of take this film, and they read his screenplay, they read how he was directing, and they were like, okay. So I think whatever conscious decisions that director may have made,
There was a lot going on.
it was done. A lot of it, your point, a lot of it was done to honor
Jonathan.
Right,
Larson's
right,
memory
right.
because they didn't want this to be that typical, oh, you're like shedding on a tortured artist's life and you're like crapping all over it. And
If he made a straight film adaptation, maybe people would be like, "Oh, but I prefer this, or I prefer that." or I
Right.
prefer-"
if he
This
made a
was legacy
straight
film.
if he made a straight film adaptation, we could have very realistically maybe not liked Jonathan Larson as much as we do right now.
That's a very
because
good point.
we could have sat there going, what a selfish prick, his friend's in the hospital and he's here worried about, you know, his song or his girlfriend.
We would not have heard him chastising himself.
Maybe
For thinking about
maybe
the
we
song.
don't know. Maybe we would have, maybe we wouldn't. All I'm saying is, I think all those decisions were made, and they were made for the very specific purpose of honoring a man who went too soon, and who revolutionized Broadway and Broadway plays.
Right.
And I think that's just, again, I think I just love this movie a little too much. And it's weird because I didn't go into this movie thinking I'd love it. I genuinely went into this movie thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to sit through a fucking musical. And I finished it and it made me feel things that I didn't like feeling because it made me feel, because you know what was really weird? Whenever he'd have like, so that situation where his girlfriend tells him about, initially that she's thinking about taking the job. And he starts going, oh, I'm cold. Can we like go downstairs and like all the
deflecting.
The thing is, it's like it was so, all the emotions, all the reactions, all the it was exactly the way I feel like a normal person would do it. Sometimes movies get things a little wonky. Sometimes movies get human reactions a little wonky. This didn't. Like this, I knew why he was doing this. I knew immediately his brain, and immediately when she took off the coat and she was looking stunning, and he was like, oh wow, I knew his brain switched, and he was like, and then when she went like, oh, this job's in the Berkshires, and he's like, I'm not going to talk about it now, because if I talk about it now, we're going to have to fight. You just like, it's just, I don't know, it was so like I was following this man through every step of what he was thinking. And the thing is, even that thing in the diner where he was like, oh, my friend's in the hospital, but I'm such a I've thought of selfish shit too sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. Like that's a
And
very,
you don't usually see that in film.
you either very clearly begin to make someone look bad or make someone look good. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Now
you don't,
imagine you did not have Jonathan's monologue and you see everything the way the characters see Jonathan, which is him being selfish.
But like, there's also other films that do that too. Without Beautiful Mind does it.
Okay, I have a very strong point that you've touched a bit thing.
I touched a bit thing.
Bit of a thing about my rant. So my main point was what are you doing that's so noble? I'm making art,
Yeah.
and Jonathan looks down on everyone
Yeah.
who
Isn't.
isn't, And that is such an insufferable attitude where you romanticize the pain and the struggle that an artist goes through. And I should know because I used to be like this.
Yep. He actually was. He was.
Maybe I still am. A little bit I am. And the romanticization of the artist's struggle is so self-destructive. And that's something I've learned the hard way. And this scene was so important to capturing the crux of why Jonathan Larson is the way he is.
Right.
Is because he thinks he is destined for greatness. He thinks he will achieve it all. He thinks if he doesn't give up on he thinks everyone else has given up on their dreams because they're weak or because they're not committed. And he is in this delusion of grandeur where reality hasn't hit him yet that no, sometimes the world just does not allow you to achieve those dreams. And it comes from such a place of privilege for him, which Michael calls out.
Yeah.
And it's not just in that where he's talking about spending the life with the people you love, but just a place of privilege where people can achieve their dreams and they can achieve their goals because they have the tools accessible to them. Now imagine somebody who's extremely creative, brilliant, and has big dreams but does not have the financial access or the connections to be able to achieve that greatness. Would you look down on them? No. They just are not as privileged as you are. And you being on a high horse thinking, oh, just because I was able to climb that ladder is because the ladder was in front of you. You know? And I think this scene perfectly encapsulates that.
Right.
So if you could go to my second clip as well.
I'm sorry, Rosa.
Congratulations on a terrific presentation.
Rosa, hold on. So, okay. So what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
You start writing the next one.
And after you finish that one, you start on the next.
And on and on. And that's what it is to be a writer, honey.
You just keep throwing them against the wall and hoping against hope that eventually something sticks.
On the way here, I was talking to Hussain, and I told him that there was something that hit me like a ton of bricks the first time I saw this in 2021. It was this.
This scene right then. This is what
You
you're
start
left with.
writing the next one. And when you're done with that, you write the next one. And on, and that's what it is to be a writer, honey. And I lost my damn mind. And that moment of clarity that Jonathan has, where thing is, this entire story is structured around in 6 days I'm going to turn 30 and I have not achieved greatness.
Anything, yeah.
Okay, so now I would say, okay, so what? But there was a time. I'm 26 now. And I feel this story on a highly emotional level, where I was a lot like this, where I was tethered. One of the main drives for me to make that story was, I need to be better than everyone. I need to achieve greatness. I need to look down on everyone who doesn't. For a long time, I did. And after it was completed, I'm sitting here talking about films. I haven't done anything since then. Right? This scene hits me like a ton of bricks, Ali. And it's just this, we all see the success,
Yeah.
but nobody sees the steps it took to get there.
Right.
And Jonathan is thinking that the first one is the best one when it's never the case. It's
That is
hardly
true.
ever the case. His whole shtick is before 30, these people reached their aim, but they were probably working on it since they were 10 and failing every single time. The point I'm trying to make here is Jonathan Larson is a good example of a bad obsession. I'm going to start reading a bit of what I wrote because I wrote this in a really emotional rant. And he was so consumed that he will achieve his big break with Superbia that he didn't even pause to mentally prepare himself for the possibility of this not being his magnum opus. And I think we get too caught up in the rat race.
Yeah.
Right.
Not to take a dig at you, but this reminded me of Virani.
Hey, still not out. Still not out.
But the way he went about making Superbia made me think of you a lot.
Right.
Made me think of Virani, and I was like, he's so obsessed with being perfect. He's so obsessed with making it perfect that he won't make it. Do you know? And that is the main issue with Virani. And I'm like, I hope you learned a lesson from this, Ali. As much as you... I knew it! I knew it! I thought either he's gonna hate...
with my eyes closed.
Either he's gonna hate how much this film called him out, or he's gonna learn a valuable lesson for this. But he wasn't there for his girlfriend or his best friend. Now, normally in stories about, I bring this up again, normally in stories about journeys towards achieving greatness, in those films, in those stories, the people and the relationship in the protagonist's life, they're treated like obstacles.
Right.
Susan calls him out. Oh, you're the artist and I'm the girlfriend. You know,
There's a trope of
I'm
it.
a side character in your life. I'm an obstacle. I am meaningless. I am an appendage to your greatness, is how Jonathan views almost everyone there.
Right.
And this is the deconstruction and the de-romanticization of the artist's struggle.
I don't think Jonathan viewed his girlfriend as that appendage. I think she thought that he viewed her as such. I don't think he ever did. Because even in the opening scene, her opening scene, as in...
The dance scene.
Yes, our introduction to her. He is genuinely so impressed and he's so moved and he's so in love with her and he's genuinely in awe of her skills, of her dancing skills. But I think what happens is he's so caught up in his own
Moment.
in his own moment and his own, this is something I have to achieve, this is something I have to achieve, that he just doesn't have time for anyone. It's not that he doesn't have time for his partner, it's not that he doesn't have time for his friend, he doesn't have time for anyone.
Yeah, I get that. But that's the whole moral lesson of the story. Why doesn't he have time for everyone? Because he's so obsessed with achieving that greatness.
But sometimes it isn't that. Sometimes
that's
it's
not the
bad.
case here now.
It's bad time management, or it's just bad structure. It's bad. Like even me, I get very bad with responding to friends, with responding to family members, with this. If I'm
But
very
you're not
caught
running
up-
after greatness like he is.
Ouch,
Damn, bro.
God
I'm
damn.
sorry, man.
First of all,
Rip.
you are not upset. No, Dekho. Jonathan Larson's entire
Ali, do you got
personality.
tissues?
Listen,
Yeah, it's right
Hussain, his entire world revolves
I
around.
get it,
He's
I
in a
get it,
bubble.
yeah.
You're not in a bubble. You
That's
just have a lot of
true.
responsibilities. That's not the same thing he has. He's
true.
not paying his bills. He's not cleaning his house because he thinks
That
he
is
is
true.
above it.
He's also broke.
He's also broke, but like he does think he is above
But
it.
the thing is, he's broke. But where he needs money for his craft, he gets it.
Yeah, he
needed
goes to the focus
75
group.
bucks.
That's what I'm
He
saying.
did the focus
Yeah.
group to get an extra musician. I
On
get
the
what you're
whole.
trying to say. When you, it's the whole.
It's a bad obsession
Yeah.
Yeah.
to think
But
that
you have to be obsessed to achieve that level of greatness. You have to have such an ego and such an obsession that you are willing
yes,
to sort
but
of.
my point is, normally films will romanticize that. In society,
Okay, fine,
it is
fair.
romanticized, and that romanticization does lead to a bad mental breakdown. Jonathan Larson's not happy.
he had an aneurysm
He
at
died.
35.
Yeah, aortic aneurysm.
It
yeah.
killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Yeah, we talk about how he probably would have thought it's worth it, but he would have thought it's worth it.
We don't know if he knew it.
But
Yeah.
was it like
We assume based on his character study, right? That's the whole point of a character study. You can make,
put it on a humanity's sake? Is it worth it to
It's
die
not.
for your craft? Yeah.
you know, and
Is it?
I mean, I don't think so. I've had.
Maybe
I
we're
think,
just not.
I think.
The greatest form of human expression is your human experience and its continuity. You dying doesn't help.
Thank you.
All of Van Gogh's best work was when he wasn't depressed. Do you understand what he's trying to say?
Everyone needs to watch.
Whether
this
you
film.
like it or not is irrelevant.
Is
No,
irrelevant.
exactly. That's
This
the point.
is a
That's the point.
movie
It's
you
something
should
that needs
have
to be
to
watched.
watch
Yep.
at least once in
Like
your life.
you can get away with never watching Man on Fire, you will not miss out on anything in life.
You will be beneficial by never watching Man on Fire.
It will
Exactly,
help.
but this one effectively makes you try to be a better person by the end of it. And that's
It is
the-
such an important
Yeah,
lesson.
yeah,
And
yeah.
for every single artist out there, whether you're musical, whether you're a writer, whether you're an animator, whether you're a filmmaker, no matter what kind of artist you are, art is art. But you need to watch this film. If you are, whether on one side of the fence or the other, either way,
I agree.
there is a lot to learn from
I
this
agree.
and a lot to take away from
I
this.
I
And
was
it will
so
change your
excited
life.
to watch this movie just to call me out, and then think that's the only reason you watch it again. Damn it! This is time. We can
My
call
first
Ali out again.
I tell you something. My first note. This is a film about Ali and his project Virani.
It's
I have to be
Virani.
on the cusp of being 30 to put that out.
Ali,
Five
the
more
damn
years,
film.
baby. 5 more years, baby. On the heels of what you just said, Maya, it was so beautiful. We're not spinning the wheel this time around. Because
not spin the wheel.
because
Okay, sure, Mahir.
Project Hail Mary
Yeah.
just came out like a couple of weeks ago. We're busy, and now we're finally all free. So we're gonna be watching Project Hail Mary
In
for
cinema
next
together, the
Because
three of
I'm
us.
in the movie. Myers also in the movie.
We're all in the movie.
Hussein's also in the movie. We're actually the main characters.
He's literally us.
So we're gonna go watch it.
Yes.
Please do watch it when you have the chance, because I've been thinking about this movie since it was first, like the trailer came out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
We're gonna put up a FAF poll soon. So
Yeah,
we have to put it as
this
early
time.
as possible.
watch this movie.
Please. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much for joining us. Bye bye, guys.
Dude, you want to get pizza?
We wrapped this up pretty quickly.
We
'Cause
really did. It's
no,
only
it's fine.
an
The
hour and a
thing is,
half of filming.
finally getting good at saying what you
Get
want
good.
to say.
Get good, guys. Get good.